Today we're 3D printing a toy gravity knife. So this is all the bits we need, and the great thing is we need nothing additional, and it actually screws together, so no glue, and you can completely disassemble it afterwards if you want. So this thing is impressive and it's really cool. So there's a link in the description below if you want to go check out the original designer's files and give us a go yourself. It is all free, and these are the parts we need, not much at all, and it's all relatively easy to print. The only issue I really had was actually assembly, which kind of became easier once I fully assembled it and actually took it apart and then put it back together. It was actually far easier the second time because the tolerances are very tight. So let's go ahead and assemble. And assembly is a little bit complex as there is a few places you can go wrong. So I'll try to help you as we build this. So if you do this yourself, you're going to have no problems, because I did run into a few issues of just putting things in the wrong place to begin with. So first of all, you're going to start with the body here. And you'll notice there's this hole here. So this is where this piece goes behind it. And there's actually a slot that it fits into that allows it to move up and down into two positions. So you have to get it in there first, which is a tight fit and not easily accessible. So once you're able to get this in, then you want to get the little bolt and just tighten it in, as there's threads on the bolt and on the 3D printed part as well. They're already there. So once you get your bolt started, you just want to start threading it in. And as a result, you end up with this thing being held in there really well. And you don't want it to be as super tight or anything like that. You want the bolt to actually go through enough so that it's going to fit into a slot in the rest of the body later. So as you can see, I'm reorientating here so we can tighten this up and give you guys a good view, let you see how it actually fits in. And you'll notice that I did do some paint jobs on some of these parts. So the main body I did a matte black, but the bolts themselves I didn't spray paint. I didn't want to mess with the threads. And then the other part, of course, I did silver as well. And the blade, I printed that off in just green. So I'm going to leave it green. And I think it's going to look stunning with that green blade flying out of it later. Now, once the blade goes in, you want to make sure something's right here, as it has the right orientation. You'll see that there's no hole on that side of the blade. You want to flip it around and place it in. And you'll now notice there's a hole in that area, which is where part of the body slots in to make sure the blade stays out. Next up is just threading this into the handle here, and this is relatively simple. To begin with, this was super tight going in. I wasn't sure it was going to work, but actually it worked out perfectly, and tolerances here are pretty damn good. I did have my doubts, but yeah, worked out superb. That's then it fully assembled. So we're going to now take a look at the entire design. So you can see that it snaps together. This locks it, either open or closed, depending on where the blade position is. And then for me, the blade is a little bit sticky, but for the most part, it's pretty damn good. And you can see we can lock it in. And as you can see, it is extremely good at holding itself together. I tried shaking it a bunch to see if we get any motion, but no. And then you can try flipping it out, which to begin with, I was having a bit of difficulty with. And especially in this filming orientation, I couldn't quite get the angle correct, but it works really well. And I'll show you how perfect it works in a second. But yeah, it's a great design. I highly recommend doing this actually. I did have quite a lot of issues kind of assembling it, and I had to kind of mess around with it quite a bit to get it to be perfect, and a little bit of cleanup here and there. But for the most part, I really just thought this thing is actually quite good and a nice little thing, especially with the green blade and you're flipping it out. It just looks exceptionally good. So very happy with it. Anyway, let's go and show you what it looks like when you actually flip it out properly. So here it is in a much better orientation to do the flick and a little bit of practicing too. And yeah, it works really well. It is extremely satisfying and yeah, looks superb. I'm so happy I went with the green. It just, because it looks kind of normal, but I didn't want it to actually look like a normal, knife. I wanted it to look like a toy knife, and the flick out is really good. It's not quite a gravity blade, even though the original owner calls it a gravity blade. It is still sweet.